Like, I don't have to handle the needles, thank God. But as far as, you know, being an administrator, before I was an actor, I worked regular jobs, and there's always, you know, some poor soul that has to keep everybody pumped up, even though she does not believe a word of what she's saying anymore. So that's kind of where I took my inspiration.
You know, Eric, this is a medical show, and a series of first season medical shows that are out there right now, like The Pit and Pulse. Do you see yourselves as a bit of a foil or a companion in all these first season hospital shows?
First of all, how dare they? I staked out this space very early on. No, I mean, I'm not surprised in the sense that part of the genesis for this idea was like came alive even more during COVID, and when we were all like out in the streets applauding for healthcare workers at the end of the night, and they were just as much in the zeitgeist as ever. I like that so far. Like, I watched The Pit, and we are weirdly swimming in some of the same waters in terms of subject matter, but I actually love watching it because it's sort of a testament to television, storytelling, whatever, that tonally everything is so different that they feel like they're existing in completely different universes. And I think that's kind of part of the beauty of making something original.
St. Denis is comparatively bloodless.
Yes, we're not looking to make people throw up and squirm at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday. It's time to just relax and be with your family.
And, you know, the cast is terrific. Alison Tolman, David Allen Greer. You know, Wendi, I wonder, after your decade-long run with the Goldbergs, what's the process of finding a...
Thank you, whoever.
Fan of decades.
What's the process of finding a rhythm with a new work family?
That was a tough one, because when we were filming the pilot, I was actually doing my farewell tour of the Goldbergs. So I really felt like I was cheating on my family. But we all wanted to be there so badly, and we didn't have chemistry reads. Like, that just doesn't exist anymore. I mean, everything happens so quickly. So as far as finding a rhythm, I think what united us all together was the fact that we are supposed to be saving lives, you know? So let's stick to what the script is doing, and personality-wise, we will make it work because we love being here, you know? And listen, I've been blessed to have a great work family before, and now I've got an amazing one right now. So, you know, we all are just all about gratitude, and you know, we want to tell these stories. So I hope that answered your question.
And Wendy can't say this herself, but she sets a really beautiful tone for all of the actors to have like a very supportive, friendly, and hilarious atmosphere. So I get really bummed when I don't have time to be on set, because it's a really great environment that they all create together.
And you know, it's such a comfort food show, and you know, at least when I'm talking to folks who work in development, agents, producers, like everybody's looking for comfort food right now, but it's not easy to make. Like, Eric, tell us a little bit about the process of making sure all those parts really come together.
It's really hard. No, I've been like close to the showrunner job on other shows. I've worked on a ton of other people's shows, and I always thought like, oh, and then when I'm the showrunner, I'll just make the final decisions on wardrobe and stuff, and that'll be the difference. And it was very much not that. It's a really full-time, I mean, like waking up in the middle of the night going like, oh, actually this is a better way to end that C story type of job. And I think a lot of the hard work is setting up all the pieces of it by hiring wonderful people so that you don't have to work as hard, because you know they're all doing their jobs beautifully. But I will say it has been enlightening to me. Now that we're getting into the second season, I'm a little more ready for the sort of all-encompassing challenge of it. It's just everything from thinking about the arcs of the characters for the season, to breaking the stories with the writers, getting into all the details of like, you know, sometimes you're wrestling with one joke for several hours because you want to get it exactly right, and then balancing production with budget needs and all of post. Is this what you want to know? All the boring details?
Basically what I traffic in, yeah.
But I love it almost all the time, and I'm very happy and grateful to be back at it.
I mean, hey, and broadcast TV, right? I mean, like a big broadcast sitcom, it's really having a moment, and I mean, to have the sort of, I mean, how do you think of it? Is it kind of like a little bit of a luxury to be able to have space to find your footing?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, yes, I would say it absolutely is, but it's funny, like I just have been working, I've gone back and forth from broadcast to cable in the last, I don't know, 15 years or whatever, but I kept coming back to broadcast not because business was booming, but because it felt like I just got so much joy out of that process, and you get to be part of every part of it. Even as a writer on Superstore, Justin Spitzer, who was running that show, was putting me in the edit bay, and I was always on set for my episodes, and I really got to learn every part of it. And there's just something really wonderful about collaborating with people and all being on this team together that's doing the whole beast together. So I'm grateful for broadcast TV. I love it. I'm happy that people are still enjoying it.
So the thing I love about broadcast TV, and I just want to say thank you, Matlock, okay? Really, you know, pushing us forward with that. First of all, you get bigger orders of shows per season, and if you hit big, you never go off the air. So it's great for comfort shows. For instance, when I'm feeling sick or I need a pick-me-up, what am I going to turn on? Cheers, Seinfeld, The Golden Girls. You know, that's where I think St. Denis can live. And those are the kinds of shows that I want to do, that, you know, people watch and that they watch forever. So I'm really lucky that I get to do St. Denis, and I'm happy that things are kind of coming back around to broadcast television, you know, where actors can make a living.
Also,
There, I said
I will also say, like, not to talk shit, I love this show, but I'm not watching The Bear with my 8 and 6-year-old. And so I think there's like a real like beauty and joy in shows that families of all ages, friends of all ages can watch together and enjoy and talk about, and I'm very happy to be a part of that.
And I love that you mentioned Superstore, my personal favorite. I love that show so much. You know, you're so well versed in the workplace ensemble comedy, Eric. You know, you and Justin, more recently American Auto and Superstore. You know, the thing that I think beneath the comedy, shows like Superstore and St. Denis have in common is this real reflection of the American working class. How do you think about that? You know, how much does that factor into the writing?
I would say quite a bit. I mean, I worked, as we were just talking about this backstage, my first job was at CVS. Like in college I worked at Outback Steakhouse. Like I've had a lot of jobs. I wasn't someone who made it as a writer right away. And I think that there's a real benefit to that as a writer, because you have life experience, you meet a lot of people from different walks of life. And I think that what's interesting about workplace comedies to me, especially in a hospital where you're saving people's lives, is that you're stuck together with people who are different from you, and you have to get along. You have to work together. People's lives, in this case, depend on it. And I find that to be very compelling, to watch people struggle with the parts that are challenging for them, but still have to work through them in order to make everything work.
How much do you think about sort of the cultural and socio-political stuff that underpins being part of the working class and being part of these kinds of environments? You know, Wendi, I'm thinking about, I think it was the second episode, where Joyce has to contend with her grief over over the death of her marimba teacher, and putting up a wall between, you know, work and feeling this, because as a patient who's died in her hospital.
Well, you know, that's the beauty of being an adult that has to go to work, you know, especially in the medical profession. There is no such thing as a 40-hour work week. There's a 60-hour work week. a 70-hour work week, and you're with these people more than you're with your own families, and I think that's true for just about every occupation these days. And so how can you not think about that? You know, it's just a harsh reality, and yet when you spend so much time with people, familiarity sometimes breeds contempt. That is also the case in your family dynamic, but you're at work more than you're with your family, so it's such a balancing act that it has to become funny. There's just no other place for it to go, you know?
What about you, Eric? What you're thinking about?
Yeah, I think to me it's like always guided by what's real, or at least coming from a real place. So any story that is relevant to the life of an actual healthcare worker, or in some cases just anyone who's worked in any job, is like fair game or fodder for the show. I think that ultimately the connection point is, you know, seeing characters that are going through something that feels deeply familiar, even if the way they're handling it is maybe not exactly what you've done in your life. It's maybe what you had a dream or a nightmare of reacting that way. Just trying to find the funny in that.
Yeah. Is there something about the workplace in particular that you find drawing you back in?
Yeah, like I have like family stuff, so I don't want to write about families. It's like that. No, I feel like it really is just that thing of, you know, your family is your family, your friends are your chosen family, and there are a lot of interesting dynamics there. I certainly like shows about those areas, but in a workplace, you can be thrown together with someone you have no chemistry with, someone you have opposing chemistry with, and you actually have to Wendy's point, you have to spend sometimes more time with them than you do with maybe your weird aunt who you can just call once a year. And I just think that's a fun dynamic to play.
And Wendy, speaking of chemistry, do you have any favorite scene partners or any favorite scenes already from this season?
Okay, Mecky Leeper. I don't know if you guys watch Jury Duty. Okay, brilliant show. I cannot look at him while we're filming because I will lose it. The same goes with David Alan Grier, who I have only adored since the late 80s when In Living Color came out. All the boys, Josh Lawson, who should be, you know, People Magazine's sexiest guy on a TV show this year.
It's not fair that he's so funny.
It's not fair, and that he doesn't realize it. But all of the boys, God help me, I can't work with them without losing it. There's just something in a turn of phrase, or maybe just a weird little twitch of the eye that everybody does something weird, and I get the giggles. I'm the worst one about getting the giggles and ruining a take, but I love them. It's very fun to go to work.
Well, I want to wrap it by asking each of you, you know, we've been asking this on every panel, but you know, like our audience here is so full of people who live and work in this industry, which has been going through such a tough time over the last 5 years. You know, what gives you hope? Any words of wisdom here when you're thinking about the future of entertainment?
I mean, look. No, I mean, first of all, I would just say that I am so grateful. I sometimes even feel like guilt in my gratefulness of like the timing of this show is when it is, and it's truly a gift and a blessing to be able to like work with so many people that I love and care about, and that we get to keep making the show. I do have a lot of hope. I think that, you know, industries go through up and downs, and I've been in it long enough to be around for some of those ups and downs. But the truth is, nothing will change the fact that people want, there will always be a huge marketplace for good stories well told. And I just think that those stories are always going to be in demand and continue to be made. And I think that because most of the best people in the world who do those things come to Los Angeles to do that, they're going to continue to be made here. That's my hope and my thought on it.
So I wish I had a brilliant answer to this question. It's been really hard to watch people struggle for work. You know, some of our crew from the Goldbergs have not worked since we finished the Goldbergs. That's ridiculous. I want to say just dig in your heels and insist that production stay here, but that's not realistic, is it? That doesn't get your bills paid. I don't know what to say. All I can say is I can echo what Eric just said. People will always need entertainment. I truly do not know what to say to keep production here. It makes no sense that things are going other places. I don't know what to tell you.
But it seems like what showrunners can do, what veteran actors can do is dig in their heels and say, I want to make this show here, and this is why, and I will make it work with the budget because it's important to me. The show will be better if it's made here, and just fight those fights and make that case, and that's all we can do.
Wise words. All right, thank you so much for your time. Give it up for Wendi and Eric, everyone.
Thank you.